But thanks for tapping in to Street TV. I'm Alex Alonso, and I'm here to give you an update on the Eric Holder trial since he has been reportedly injured in the LA County Jail. And I was able to get a complete update on what actually happened to Eric Holder. So let me give it to you. So early this morning, this happened Tuesday morning in the LA County um, holding tank. So Monday he came to court, even though there was not in session on Monday, but he came to court because both the attorneys were formulating their jury instructions, the instructions that they're going to give to the jury after the case is over sometime this week. So Eric was there and everything was fine on Monday. So this injury, this attack that happened to Eric Holder happened this morning, and it happened in a holding tank where there were 13 other inmates. At some point, at least two inmates in that holding tank attacked Eric Holder. It might have been three. Um, and they started to assault him on the left side of his face. They they were punching the left side of his face, and they caused a blood vessel to burst in his eye, which makes the white part of the eye turns red. And I put the scientific term for that in the description if you want to know exactly what he suffered with that attack. But he also suffered a laceration or some sort of cut on the backside of his head that required three staples, not stitches, but staples. After the attack, he was taken to the doctor, and he received those staples, and then he received an MRI also. Um, I'm not certain that the Los Angeles County Jail has the MRI technology. So if I'm not mistaken, they had to take him over to the USC hospital, which is off-site. He had to leave the LA County Jail property, go to the USC hospital and get that MRI. And he was cleared to be in court tomorrow morning. So I would say that he had to deal with a serious attack this morning in the LA County Jail. And it could be that because he's going to trial every day and they're transporting him into court every day and back to the jail and into the court, that he's been able to have more access to more people within the jail system. So it was reported that he got stabbed. And I was talking to a few people about this, and they're not necessarily calling this a stabbing, more as like a slicing with a sharp object along the backside, the back of his head. The back of his head was cut, and that's where he got the three staples. So that's pretty much it, man. Those rumors started to circulate quite early this morning, and I guess they were true. So, how did you guys first hear about the attack on Nipsey Hussle? Somebody told me that it was on Clubhouse. I was in the court this morning at 9:30, and that's when I learned about. I learned about it around 9:45 a.m. when he didn't show up to court, and we knew that it was some sort of assault or an attack. Well, yeah, I reported it early in the morning, but apparently there was rumors circulating somewhere on social media that Eric Holder had got stabbed or got attacked before I even reported it at like 10 something. Um, yeah. So he'll be back in court. He was cleared. And also, some photos of his injuries were taken. I tried to get those photos, but I'm probably not going to be able to get those photos until after the trial's over. So they documented his injuries, and at some point, I'll get those photos. Street justice, jail is better than no justice. So, what you guys think about the attack on Eric Holder? It's not a shock. Some might say, why did it take so long, huh? The photos are online. I don't think the photos of Eric Holder's injuries are online unless the sheriff deputies put him out. Let's see if those if that's true. I don't know if that's true. If there's photos of his injuries, but if you're aware of some of the photos of the injuries being posted, certainly send me a link. So I'm not going to be on here for an entire hour. I'm going to do let's do 20 minutes. I'll take some questions regarding where we're at in this trial. So far, we're going to be a day behind what we were expecting this week, but it looks like tomorrow's going to wrap up testimony. His karma. Who got him? That's a great question. Who got him? And why did they get him? We're all assuming that he was got because of Nipsey Hussle, and I think that's a fair assumption, but it could have been for a completely different reason. It could have been for a whole nother reason. Well, we don't know. But he took three staples into that cut on the back of his head versus stitches. And I'm looking up here why use staples. It says here that stapling is about 3 to 4 times faster than traditional suturing. There's fewer infections. Stapling is associated with lower tissue reaction and lower risk of infection when compared to stitches. S- So apparently they decided to do the staples, and the staples were done in the LA County jail. They have the technology to apply staples to injuries in the jail. Doctors use a special stapler. Staples need to be taken out after a certain amount of time, just like non-absorbable stitches. How do I know if I need stitches or staples? A doctor or a nurse will have to look at your cut to decide. In general, you will need stitches or staples if your cut is wide, jagged, or goes deep enough through your skin. A cut will heal on its own without stitches or staples, but they help a cut heal faster and they leave less of a scar. It seems like staples is has lower risk of infection and seems to be the more advanced way of healing cuts. So yeah, I'm not looking at the chat. All right, I'm back at the chat. I'll take some questions if anyone has any regarding this case, this trial, Eric Holder, this attack. Someone needs to put money on their books. Did the driver cry in court? No, the driver's name is Bernita Nicholson, and she did not cry. There was really no time that she got emotional. There wasn't any time. There was a time that Cowboy got emotional, near the end of his testimony, he was asked by the prosecutor, "Do you feel any regrets?" And when he answered that question, he actually got a little emotional about not being by his side when he was shot. That was the only emotion that we've seen in this whole trial was from that one question when Cowboy was on the stand. So it's confirmed that Holder has been stabbed in the jail. I'm not sure if stab is the right word. He got cut along the back of his head with a sharp object, possibly like a razor blade. Something sharp like a razor blade. So when you're using a razor blade, we don't tend to use the term stab, but you know, I don't know. I don't really know what's the best way to characterize it. Is it stabbing? Is it a slicing? He needed to get 3 staples put into that cut. So whatever you want to call it, it definitely happened. Something serious enough to where he had to get staples put. A slash. He got slash or he got stuck. Stuck is like a stabbing. I think to say he got stuck is to say he got stabbed. Young Tiny said slashed. Slash might be a better way to put it. Um, they didn't get any of the slashing part to his face, but yeah, they did punch him in the face. He has swelling on the left side, and the white of his eye is all red, which means that one of those punches to his eye area busted a blood vessel. This won't be the last attack for him. All right, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be on here about 7 more minutes, and I'm gonna call it a night. They must green lighted. I did hear the term green light. I heard that. I heard this term associated with Eric Holder being greenlit. You usually don't hear that term when it comes to blacks. That's a term that's heavily used with the Southsiders being greenlit. But apparently, he's on some sort of list. Greenlit list. Will the prosecution rest tomorrow from P Dub? Yes, the prosecution only has one witness left, and that's the coroner. So after the coroner, prosecution will rest. The defense only has 2 witnesses. They're recalling Cowboy, and they're going to put on their gang expert. And the defense should rest tomorrow. The prosecution and the defense will rest in the same day, I believe. I didn't say the Southsiders did it, real Judah. I didn't say Sudanos did it. I don't know who were the attackers. I don't know who did it. What about Rimpaw? It's Rimpaw, not Rampaw. Rimpaw will not be testifying. His his bench warrant was canceled today, so he will not be dragged into court. He will not be forced to testify. Apparently, they gave him a pass. Big Nina boy, catch it though. Catch it though. So yeah, the case will be wrapping up tomorrow, and then we'll have Closing statements on Wednesday. And guess what? Cameras back in the courtroom for the closing statements. So I know you guys wanted to get footage of all the witnesses, but at least we'll be back in the courtroom with cameras for closing arguments. Actually, closing arguments will be on Thursday, not Wednesday. We're one day behind now because of Eric Holder being attacked. I hope you guys appreciate these updates that I'm bringing you. You know, I've been in that courtroom every single day, and it ain't easy. But I appreciate some of the support that you guys give me. Mike Green said someone called my podcast small. Who called my podcast small? Mike Green. Any rumors who did it? No. No, I didn't even ask. I didn't even think to ask like who did it. But tomorrow I'm sure some more information will come out. If you just jumped into this live, let me give you an update on what happened today in court. Looking for my notes. So, court was to resume this morning, Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. At about 9:45, the judge came out, and I noticed that the defense attorney, the prosecutor were there, and then the judge called the jury to come out. But what we all noticed was that Eric Holder wasn't sitting at the table. Usually, you don't call the jury out until the defendant is sitting. So I knew something was up as soon as the jury was called out. And as soon as the jury came there and sat down at about 9:45 this morning, the judge told the jurors that due to unforeseen circumstances that are out of the control of the court, we are not going to be in session today. And he told everyone to go home. And that was it. I feel like I was in the courtroom for 5 minutes. And then ordered everyone back at 9:30 in the morning. And Eric Holder was cleared to be in court tomorrow because he was attacked. He was attacked in a holding tank that held 13 people. And the holding tanks are temporary locations that you're housed in while you're being transported from point A to point B. So he was in a holding tank with 13 people, and I guess two or three of them decided to get off on him. And they did. They started assaulting him. They started punching him in his head on the left side of his face. And at some point, someone took a sharp razor blade type weapon and cut the back of his head. I I guess you can characterize it as a stabbing, a slicing, a cutting, and it required three staples. His eye, he suffered a busted blood vessel in his eye, and the left side of his face is swollen. There are photos of all his injuries. I tried to get those photos. I tried to get those photos today, but I was unsuccessful at getting them. But I believe I'll be able to get them in about 2 or 3 days. So I'll be sure to post those pictures, and I guarantee you I'll be the first ones with those photos because of how diligent I've been on this case. I almost got those pictures though, but that's pretty much an update on his injuries. I reported earlier on a previous video that he was attacked. At that time, I didn't know what his injuries were. I didn't know the severity of the attack. But since then, I got more details on his injuries. He also got an MRI. He got an MRI, He went to a clinic in the jail. That's where he got the staples, and then he got an MRI, most likely at the USC hospital, which is near the county jail. And he's cleared to be in court tomorrow morning. So that's an update on Eric Holder's injuries, and he'll be back in court to face his accusers first thing in the morning. So, I'm already at the 20-minute point. Man, I hate to go right now. I mean, give me a thumbs up if you want me to take a few more minutes of questions. I don't know if you guys are tired. I don't know if you guys want me to stay on for a little bit more, answering some questions. If I get a bunch of thumbs up, I'll squeeze in a few more minutes. I usually do an hour, but oh wow. I'm very flattered that you guys want me to continue answering some questions. Can you check his wristband color? It might be difficult to see Eric Holder's wristband because he comes out in a suit. And when he comes out in the suit, he's got his shirt all the way down like this. And then he's got a blazer, and you can't really see. So I guess I'll take a few more questions. Eric was a real gangster, not a studio wankster. It don't matter who did it at this point. Anyone can get him. Yellow wristband. Did medical examiner testify? No. The medical examiner, the pathologist, the coroner, which are all the same, he's scheduled to testify tomorrow. And I believe he will be the last witness for the prosecution. And then they will rest their case. The defense has a couple of witnesses, and then they'll rest their case. And that all should happen tomorrow. Those three witnesses should all be done by tomorrow. And that's assuming, of course, that Eric Holder doesn't testify, which there's no indication that he's taking this stand at all. Is this a common scenario in LA? Homie on homie killings? Unfortunately, it has happened many times in the past. I'm surprised that I got almost 1,000 people in this live. I don't really get a lot of super chats, but I see people with like 300 people in their lives, and they're getting super chats back to back to back to back. I got damn near 1,000 people in here. But I know you're just thirsty for that Eric Holder / Nipsey Hussle update. I understand there is a lack of coverage of this case. Why everybody hate Holder so much? Great work, Alonso. I follow everything, not just this topic. That's what I appreciate. I hope you guys are tapping into some of my other videos, some of my other interviews. I got a whole lot of content on the platform, on the channel, and I hope you consume all of those videos and interviews just like you're consuming these lives that I've been doing for the last week. Thank you for keeping us updated. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, come down to the courthouse. Tomorrow is the last day of testimony, and then Thursday will be closing arguments. Closing arguments, the court's going to be packed. The court will be packed for closing arguments. That's my experience. But if you want to check out the trial, tomorrow is a great day to come down. It's the last day of testimony. You're going to get the coroner, you're going to get cowboy, and you're going to get a gang expert by the defense. So all three of those witnesses should be interesting. Did Eric get beat up today? Lorenzo Davis, I just did an update. That's what this video is about. He was attacked in the LA County Jail holding tank. He was in a holding tank that held 13 people. I believe 2 or 3 people assaulted him, started to beat him. And there even was an injury made by a sharp object on the back of his head that caused a laceration that needed 3 staples. So yes, it is true. Thank you, Chuck Williams. Appreciate you tapping into Street TV. I'm going to go 4 more minutes till the 30-minute point, and then I got to head on out. I really appreciate everybody in here, and if I could stay longer, I would. There's so many people, so many questions, so much information. But check out some of the videos that I've just done in recent days if you need any updates on the trial. I've pretty much covered all the main witnesses. I'm going to do another video on some of the lesser known witnesses that testified just to fill everybody in. Appreciate your whole body of work. Thank you, hard body. I'll take a couple more questions. Don't drop the soap, Eric. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. 952 people, only 60 likes. You know, I don't even keep track of none of that stuff. You know, I'm not the type of guy that says like, share, all that stuff. But I would say subscribe if you want to get some more updates. Alex, the Rick Baker interview is really interesting, but the segments are too short. Cameras are not allowed in the courtroom. This is they're not allowed in the courtroom during the witnesses. So during closing arguments on Thursday, we should be able to take our cameras back in. Lorenzo Davis, thanks for tapping in with Street TV. I'm giving you 1 million likes. Oh. Anyone think this is a distraction? I appreciate the way you take notes. Oh, I take extensive notes when I'm in that courtroom. Extensive notes. I showed my notes before. Sometimes I type my notes. If I'm in a mood, if I'm not too tired, I'll type my notes. I type pretty fast, but if I'm kind of laid back, I'll write my notes. So this is all handwritten notes for every witness that's testified, and then I got pages of typed notes for all of the witnesses as well. So, and right here, let me show you something interesting here. This is page 9. I'm holding pages 8 through 16, typewritten. 8 through 16, typewritten. So this would be 8 pages of just Bernita Nicholson's testimony. So if you didn't want to wait to get the transcripts, I have all the notes right here. I'll probably end up getting the transcripts at some point, but they're not necessarily needed for me since I was in the court. So this is 8 pages, typed single space. Typed single space. This is just Bernita Nicholson testimony. I did the video that I uploaded on her was I was reading off these notes here, which are my personal notes from sitting in the courtroom. So we'll take a couple more questions, and I'm gonna head on out. Why isn't there cameras in this trial? The judge makes that decision. H. Clay Jack, he ruled against cameras. Well, he didn't completely rule against cameras in the court because he's allowing them during opening statements, closing statements, and the verdict, but not during witness testimony. It's a judge's decision. Hit the like button. Someone said, hit the like button for my man, Alex. Appreciate that. Can you repeat the assault on Holder? You missed it. Don Corleone. Let me pick up my notes off the floor. My handwritten notes. And so basically, I'm going to recap the injuries that Eric Holder sustained for those who are just tapping in right now into this live that's been going for 32 minutes. So he didn't show up in court, so we knew something was going on. So the judge told the jury that due to unforeseen circumstances that were out of the control of the court would not be in session. So the judge didn't tell the jury that Eric Holder was attacked. So the jury has no clue, like, what's going on. They're completely in the dark. They're probably like wondering, what's going on? Unless they're in the live, if they're on my live right now, I wonder if any of the jurors are checking out updates like this. They're not supposed to, actually. The judge requests after every session to not go on the internet and not read any information. But after the judge dismissed the jury, which happened at about 9:45 a.m., we got word that he was attacked. So I reported earlier on an Instagram live video that he was attacked, but I didn't have any details. I just knew he was physically attacked. And then late this afternoon, I received the details, which included he was in a holding tank with 13 other people on his way to come to court. This happened Tuesday morning. And either 2 or 3 people began to assault him in that holding tank. They continued to beat him, and the left side of his face is swollen, and he also suffered an eye injury. The white part of his eye is completely bloodshot, is completely so he sustained a broken blood vessel. If you want to know the actual scientific term for that injury, it's in the description. And then he received an injury to the back of his head that required 3 staples. He was either sliced. I don't know if stabbing is the right term. I don't know if it was a razor blade or some sort of sharp cutting object caused an injury on the back of his head. And then he was taken to get an MRI. And I guess the results in the MRI said he was okay to come to court tomorrow morning. So that's pretty much the update on Eric Holder's injuries. They're not life-threatening, but they're pretty serious. And that's all I have on this day 7 of the trial. Even though there was no testimony, I guess tomorrow I'll call it day 8. And I want to thank everyone for tapping in with Street TV. And I'll be back on tomorrow for another update.